Hi guys. Good afternoon. Mechangamka. Are we here? Yeah. We're about to have a very interesting conversation. I want to thank ONGEA Summit for inviting me to do this again, 2 years in a row, talking about festivals. By show of hand, how many of you in here are artists? Musicians? So this conversation is very, very important for you. We have some interesting panelists from all over the world. And interestingly, they are looking for artists to book for festivals. So I'm going to start with you, Francois. Let's just dive right into it. When you're booking artists, because you book artists for festivals, what criteria do you look for?
Okay, hello everyone. So as she said, I represent a European-based booking agency. Working with African artists, and so I travel a lot in Africa. I met a lot of artists, and people come to me with, of course, everyone wants to perform abroad in West Africa, Central Africa, Europe. So a lot of people come to me, and you know. I'm like you. I try to book artists on festivals. So I struggle to make my artists playing on festivals. So I know it's difficult. So when I talk to artists, I try to explain them that singing well, playing well music is not enough. You need many, many, many other things. Because festivals on the other side, they wait for more than only good singer or good musicians. You have to be professional. You have to think that abroad many other people are playing same music like yours, or maybe better music, or so you have to think about what is your added value, what you propose more than already existing bands. Okay, so for how many days? 3 days, 4 days? I don't remember when the summit started, but I met a lot of artists, and sadly, only 2 artists or 2 bands were able to give me at least a business card, a flyer, to talk to me about their project, to give me a punchline, to describe their project in a few words. So if you come to a festival. In fact, the criteria are the same when we talk to a booking agent or to a festival. We wait for the same things. We have the same requirements. So you need to. Sorry for my English. I'm sorry. I think my words. You need to be able to present your project in a few words to convince people to go listen to your music. But playing well, singing well is not enough, and you have to think that maybe sometimes you have. We all see many festivals we would like to play on, but sometimes we have to think, okay, this festival is too big for me. I'm not ready yet. So we have to be patient, and you have to reach steps one by one.
All right. For most people, when you're trying to book, for example, a festival, chances are here in Kenya you have to do it for yourself. But Sphe Mbhele, am I saying it right? I'm saying it right. Who's the founder and project manager of KwaZulu-Natal Music Imbizo. We were having a conversation, and you said that in South Africa, there is the system, the structure is there for the country there's a system where they identify all the festivals across the world to make it accessible to the artists to see what they want to choose. How does that work?
Okay. Greetings to everyone. So in South Africa, we have what we call export councils, right? So each and every sector has an export council to them. So within the music industry, we have a body called IMEXA, and they work closely with what we call the Department of Trade and Industry in the country. And they offer certain schemes to help push an industry forward. So within the music industry, the industry itself would identify certain platforms around the world, and they will go into IMEXA and say, we have seen that there's something happening in Kenya. It's called ONGEA, and we would like to explore that, right? But this is for export-ready people. So you need to have a product, and you need to have been fairly successful on the ground in South Africa. And then you start looking into exporting. So what they will do, they will go into government, the Department of Trade and Industry, and they will say, would like to go to ONGEA. They will get in touch with ONGEA, get an invitation, and then through government processes, 20 or so companies, and this is for companies, not musicians per se. You need to have a registered company that is paying taxes to the government. And those 20 companies are supported to come to an event like ONGEA. So in a year, you can identify 4 events, and you would participate here at ONGEA, maybe do South by Southwest, or do Womex, or even go up to Germany to check out what's happening.
All right. Speaking of Germany, we've got Detlef, who is part of Reeperbahn Festival. And is it different in Germany when you're looking at the criteria to select artists? Because he's spoken about artists are messing it up when they don't package themselves well. We've talked about packaging. We've talked about government assistance, you know, that there being a structure. What would you add to that in terms of criteria of getting people at Reeperbahn, or just your experience with festivals and artists?
Firstly, I would agree to what Sphe and Francois said generally. I mean, for a European festival, and I'm now here speaking in a little bit from the European perspective, our festival, which is a festival for emerging artists, but also other festivals, smaller, bigger ones in Germany or the rest of Europe. I mean, firstly, the criteria is, does the artist sells tickets for me? Because we live from selling tickets. So we need artists that are professional, that have a certain standard, and that hopefully already have a fan base, that have a story. So there are many criteria that are important. We are not a festival working with artists that are just coming from the rehearsal room, just learn the instrument. It's really a festival for artists that are on the 2nd or 3rd step of their career, who are well prepared, and as we said, or as festival bookers often say, export ready. So we have 400, 450 artists performing at Reeperbahn Festival. This is probably the biggest European festival, urban festival. We have nearly 5,000 industry delegates at our conference, which is the biggest music industry conference in Europe, with delegates from nearly 60 nations. So we present the industry, and we want to present great artists
Right.
that sell tickets and that can convince our professional audience.
Okay, are you guys taking notes? Are you getting what you need to get to these festivals? We've had Francois, who's mentioned that you guys are not packaging yourselves well. How many of you here have business cards? As an artist, niliona mikono mingi za artists. Business cards, very important. Something to package yourself. Don't send someone a link on YouTube. See my video there. They don't accept that. He's spoken about making sure that you have a fan base, okay? How many want to perform at Koroga Festival? Are you seeing those faces? So what is your criteria for selecting someone at Koroga?
Hi, guys. We run a Koroga Festival, a local Kenyan music, culture, and arts festival. We're much smaller than some of the festivals, especially the one in Germany. You're looking at 450 artists on one stage. We're much smaller, so there are certain things we look for. I know a number of you I can see who have performed at Koroga Festival already, but very simple. As I said, a press kit is so key. I don't know how many here have press kits ready. Like if I say now, drop me a press kit now, how many of you have a press kit ready? Very few hands.
Press kit is not like an emergency kit with needles and things in there.
No, so a short clip that has really for festivals, what you're looking for is live performance. So how many have done live performances? Get your best song, put a short clip of it, because with the number of submissions probably we have to go through, you want something that captures you. So you may not be able to watch the entire thing. So you want something that stands out. Have your profile or bio ready. Have a sort of press kit that has some stuff you've done before. So it's easy for us to sort of go through it. You have your clip, and easy to then get back to you on that. But if you just send me a song, very hard for me to know your live performance. For us, we have a couple of tiers. We look for upcoming as well. We have a sort of 15-minute segment where 15 minutes of fame. So really, we give you a platform so you submit. Send an email to korogafestival@capitalfm.co.ke, and then we'll select a person who can sort of get your 15 minutes of fame. If you captivate the audience, then we will give you then another opportunity to then come back for a future Koroga and really entertain us. But again, another thing we look at is you have to stand out. How are you standing out? We have a number of hip-hop artists, all these different genres. How are you going to stand out from the rest? Your stage performance is key. How many people spend time on their craft and really perfect it? Your sort of look and costume. I mean, if you were there for even Sauti Soul's performance, it's a show. You have to have a show-stopping performance for you to stand out. And then look at different festivals and know where are you going to jump in. Not all festivals are for everyone. And so if you step on a particular stage, it could actually mess your career. And we were like, you were crap. And really, maybe you were just not ready for that stage. So also look at that. Those are some of sort of the aspects we sort of look at.
All right. I'm going to sum that up for you so that you don't miss anything. He said, make sure you've packaged yourself. He said, you can't just come here and you don't have a fan base because they need to sell tickets. He said that there's some level of government assistance. So how I'd translate that is make sure you know what structures are there supporting you as an artist to get you to where you need to go. And lastly, she said that even if you have your song on radio, how can she know that you can perform? So you need to have it packaged. Now, I'm going to show you a bit about the different festivals that are here. So let's glue our eyes on the screen. Let's see the Reeperbahn Festival, which is one of the largest festivals in Europe. We're talking about KwaZulu-Natal Imbizo from South Africa. Am I saying it right? Music Imbizo. Yes. And then, of course, Koroga Festival. Just look at the magnitude and the scale of these events, and then we'll continue from there.
The sound waves of your voice make me swim through the storm in the floor. I never know about it so new, just like you in my life. I'm in love with your words. You show the world through your eyes, 'cause you know just the way to put it on me. I'm in love with your words. Will you show me the world through your eyes? 'Cause you know just the way to put it on me. I'm in love with your words. Will you show me the world through your eyes? 'Cause you know just the way to put it on me. I'm in love with your words. Will you show me the world through your eyes? 'Cause you know just the way to put it on me.
Hello.
Thank you so much. Just the way to put it on me.
That was a Reeperbahn Festival in Germany. So if you want to, you're sitting here, you're thinking, okay, you know what? I really, really need to get to that festival. What's the first step? Francois books artists from all over Africa and parts of the world for festivals. So you need a booking agent. Am I right? You do need a booking agent. Do you guys know where you can get a booking agent here in Kenya? Does anybody know? Make sure you see Francois at the end of this one. He will book you. He will book you, I'm telling you. Francois, you were talking about the 3 days or the 4 days that you've been here. You've spoken to numerous artists, but you haven't gotten anyone who even fits the bill. Why?
I'm sorry, you have to repeat the end of your sentence. I didn't understand the end of the sentence.
You were saying that you've been to this festival
Yes.
about 3 days now, and you've spoken to a lot of artists who've come to your stand, and they're interested because
I didn't speak to everyone because many people on the hand, and they didn't see you all, guys.
So guys, it needs to start with your interest. Yeah, you can't just be trying to, book club gigs here in Kenya, You have to take your music to the next level. Let me ask about the Reeperbahn Festival. Have there been artists from Kenya or Africa?
We sometimes have artists from other regions. We have, as I said, 450 artists more or less coming from 40 nations. So, but best represented markets are, of course, UK, USA, Germany, European markets. But we also had bands from Asia, from South America or Africa. But most of them are already on their way in the Central European market. They have label, publishers, promoter, most of them. So, as I said, it's really a festival that is for young artists, but it's not for totally new ones. And this is one very important aspect I would like to add here, not only speaking about Reeperbahn Festival, but an artist who's promoting himself and managing himself, or an artist who already has a team around him. And a very important thing is to do research. What do I want to achieve on my market, my local market? And if I achieved what I planned at my local market, what is my next step? And if I'm a jazz artist, then I have to look for jazz festivals. So and Reeperbahn Festival, for example, has a certain profile, a certain style, and we're looking for certain genres. So it makes no sense for me to be approached by artists or managers who propose to book the artist, but the genre is not a fit, for example. So you really have to know what you want to achieve, do research, and do a concept and a strategy to enter new markets.
And just in a different scenario of an artist who's probably, has never, performed at big festivals, but they're actually a really good performer. Maybe they just haven't had enough opportunities, and they send you their press kit, and they're just dope. They're just good, but they don't necessarily have the fan base. Would you consider them?
We receive more than 2,000 applications per year, and I have to be honest that hardly our booking team is 4 people, and they hardly manage to have a listen to each of this. They are working with agents, with international agents who propose their new artist to our booking team. So it's not very probable that even an artist who's great and fantastic and who fits my personal taste has a chance, because in the end, as I said, we need to sell tickets, and we want to showcase acts that have a chance and a perspective to be business-wise successful on the market. And I don't want to be illusionizing, but it's just the truth. If you want to make your living, if you want to make music business, then you have to handle these things properly as well. If you're a great musician, this is great, of course. But it's not the only thing that has to be handled professionally.
Okay. So Francois, you have to help us here, because now we're realizing, okay, fine, I might not be ready for the big festival. You're the booking agent. What's our strategy? I have my album out. It's dope. I play lots of instruments. I've got a big band. We've never performed anywhere, but we got great music, and we want you to book us. How do we go? How do we start?
Many ways to start, but first start, you have to perform at least once. And the aim is to, each time you perform somewhere, you have to invite any professional promoters around, because everything's about, if someone can see you live, no more need to talk, okay? He see you live, so he likes or he don't like, anyway. So you have to invite as many people you can each time you perform. So it's a job. Some do-it-yourself artists, I can handle both artists, be an artist and be also a manager, inviting people. But it's where having a staff is important to make this kind of work, to invite people. Then maybe you can invite also booking agent and can see you live, say, okay, as you said, so I have no fan base yet, but I'm a good performer, so maybe a booking agent can say, okay, let's try to push on some professional events like this one, but it's step by step, but it takes once you have already recorded material, audio and video, it takes maybe 2 and 3 years to really put an artist on a festival. We say festival, but it's the same thing for concert venues, okay? It takes maybe 2 years, 3 years to really create an established artist that can perform in many countries, it identified by promoters. So, other thing I want to say, additionally to what said Detlef, we cannot push every artist around. Every year we can maybe develop 1, maybe 2 artists at the same time. Because booking agents, we also need to get to earn money. So aim is to take 1 artist, so maybe the best of all of you, and to try to push this artist, push you around, maybe to start with small venues, to invite people and to grow step by step, to try to push on some festivals are both festivals and pro events, but it takes a lot of time.
Okay, so now we're back to square one. We have the music. The booking agent is like, spend some time building yourself. You're doing small shows here. We're gonna bring it back home. We're gonna watch a clip from Koroga. I hope the video is ready. As now let's assume you've been doing the gigs now, yeah? You've been gigging. You've been doing the small gigs, building your brand. Of course, the next step is you want to perform at Koroga, right? Let's watch. For those of you who've never watched Koroga, I don't know, but tunaweza angalia kwa screen hapa and you'll be able to see it.
Somebody say Ra. Somebody say more fire. Right, let's go. It's time for a break. Somoina, waka waka. Somoina, zangalewa. Somoina, waka waka. Somoina, zangalewa. Somoina, waka waka. Somoina, zangalewa. It's time for a break.
Okay, so clearly Koroga is happening. You've been doing your music there, you've been participating, building your brand, but you come to Somoina. You've got your press kit. You've got your 2 videos showing how you've been performing. How many people apply for Koroga? Many.
Yeah, we have a number.
So even with my building as an artist, I've built myself, it still doesn't guarantee me a slot.
No, it doesn't, because we only have a handful of slots. We have 3-4 slots maximum. So really for us, we're looking at quality. We have 2 local slots, actually probably 3, and 1 outside act. So the local act really has to be of high quality. Again, as I say, that we have an opportunity for sort of your 15 minutes of fame, where it's really open to any upcoming, but at the same time, you also have to be a really good upcoming act. So again, as everyone is saying, invest in your craft. You have to invest in your craft yourself. So you have to be practicing. You go to other sort of live platforms, and there's so many locally in your bars, your concerts. Start there and start exposing yourself to the audience, and invite media, bloggers, in order to get your word out. Once you get your word out, very easy to grab the attention of other festival bookers. Before then you come to a bigger platform or bigger stage. So you have to invest in yourself as well.
Okay. This word invest keeps coming back. Invest in yourself, invest in yourself. And I know a lot of artists say, we really spend a lot of money. You get me? I went to the studio. I shot a video. It was not easy. I spent a lot of money. And then, Somoina, I'll come to Koroga, and then you'll tell me, I can only give you 5 minutes on that stage. And then I say, how much are you going to pay me? What do you say to that? I'm nobody knows me. You've decided to take the risk on me. And I ask for money. Does that become a point of, I don't need this?
You're an upcoming.
Yes. This is my first major one.
If you're an upcoming, we are giving you the platform.
Yes.
Yeah, that's your entry level. We are giving you the opportunity. We brought an audience to you.
Yeah.
You do your thing. As again, it begins from the next year is where we begin to really pay artists. So I say we are not looking for your upcoming, but we are giving you that platform. So if we're giving you that platform, use it wisely. Yeah, use it wisely.
Francois, you book artists. And you spoke about, as a booking agent, you're investing your time in, which technically is the same thing what managers do as well. You're investing your time, you're investing your resources, you're investing to ensure that, and that's why you take 2 artists in a year, so that you invest so that you can be able to see your returns. So is there a situation where maybe you're sitting here and someone gives you their press kit and you say, actually, you know what? I like you. And I think I could be able to book you to 2 or 3 festivals. What is so that we remove the disillusionment out of the room, what is the number of times that a young artist or a first-time artist getting a festival, say you can book them at Reeperbahn, maybe they like them, to get paid? What are the chances? If this is your first time, say, I'm an artist, I'm new in the game.
We talk a lot about how artists did package their project, etc. So it's very important because it's some catchy things. You may catch some promoters and want that they get will to hear you, okay? But the manager, the person that requested the festival or the venue is as important as the project. Means sometimes the same project, okay, same band, same music, same videos is proposed by one booking agent to a festival, and the same project maybe 1 year later is proposed, exactly same proposed by another agent. Something will happen because everything in this music business, everything is about networking, relationships. So it changes depend on who proposed the project to festivals, and it's hard for me to answer you because there are
Because
not only one rule.
I'll tell you why I'm asking that. Last year, when we were sitting here with, there was festival owners from all over the world, and I remember one of them mentioned, actually two of them mentioned how Sauti Sol, when they wanted to get their brand out, they knew the value of investing in themselves, and so some of the festivals, they would go and they wouldn't get paid, because they're small festivals in small countries, and it's a circuit. And you know, you as a booking agent is the one who does the booking. Would you, if I'm an artist who's just come on the scene, is that an avenue to, because most of the big ones, he said, I'm not even going to consider you. I'm not even going to consider you. So where do you start? Do you choose to try the small festivals, even if they're just giving you the platform with no money? Or do you just say, I'm going to wait for Reeperbahn to accept me?
You have to perform. If you don't perform, you don't exist. A booking agent, manager, he can't communicate about you. Important is to communicate about the band, to show the promoter that the band still exists. The band doesn't need this festival to exist, to live. And, you know, after I faced this, you know, I remember for a band, I tried to book the band on 1, 2, 3 specific festivals, and I didn't succeed. But after 1 year, sending newsletters, sending invitations, the guy, the booking director, he saw, oh, this band is performing recurrently every month. And hey, okay, I changed my mind. Maybe I should listen to the music because the band exists. He lives, he plays. So I think you should perform. You have to perform. More you can.
I think one thing that has been said by everybody on this panel is that persistence. You really need to be persistent, because you might send it in the first time, the team of 4 might not have seen your application, but then you'll be so upset, you'll be like, Reeperbahn, they don't even care about me, they don't know I'm going to be the next person, but the only person you're hurting is yourself. Let's circle it back to Africa, because now we're talking festivals. Now you've been doing the gigs. We're assuming you've been doing the gigs in Kenya. You've even gotten Koroga. Somoina has given you that opening act chance. What next? Do you keep it local, or do you start looking at Sauti za Busara? Do you start looking at going to KwaZulu-Natal Music Imbizo? And we got Sphe here, who's going to tell us more about that. But I want us to watch what KwaZulu-Natal Music Imbizo is all about. Okay, that looks hectic. So how long? What's the period? How long is the festival?
Okay. The KZN Music Imbizo is actually 3 days. The conference and the exhibition element of it, but we started early from about a Tuesday and it ends on a Sunday.
And we're talking about the whole booking of festivals, because I mean the people who usually come for festivals are not from mostly they're not from the country. You're expecting people to come from outside the country. Would you consider Kenya as one of those platforms, like, because as an artist, when you're selecting where you want to take your music, there's some things that you have to consider. For example, does your music fit the audience? So if there's a Kenyan artist who seated here, what do they need to do to apply for your festival?
Okay, just some background on the KZN Music Imbizo. we started off as a purely music business conference and exhibition. So the element of showcasing came a few years later, right? So this year we're turning 10 years. And from 2018, we decided that we'll attach a big festival to it. Stadium attracts about 10, 15,000 people, but we also do smaller showcases, right, for audiences of between 500 to 1,000. And we do not concentrate on a genre. So from jazz, hip hop, reggae, maskandi, any of the traditional sounds, we cater for that. We even cater for people that are interested in purely beats. So we have a beat competition as well, that if you are a producer, you can be part of. We're trying to make that an all-Africa event. So if you were looking at the KZN Music Imbizo, the most important criteria would be a local audience where you come from, a good presence online, good management, people that we can talk to and actually negotiate. And also, we should have, like everyone has been saying, we should be clear about how well can you do on stage, right? We need clips. We need to see how good are you on stage. If you know South Africa is, we sort of look inwards, you know. Almost all our content, we get it locally. And our audiences are sort of familiar. They see almost all the time on all these channels, they see most of themselves on TV. So when we introduce something new to them, it has to be really, really good, you know. And you need to also understand the different revenue streams, because we offer an exhibition space, you know, so you can trade from that space as well. You can bring in your merchandise, you can sell your CDs, but most importantly, you just need to understand the market, right? To get in and become part of the festival, because like Detlef was saying, also from our side, we want to sell tickets, you know, and a good live act is important. And we announce acts 3 months before, and we will take you to radio, we will push you so that people know about you, they know what you're doing, and they become interested. But you need to be really good to be on that stage. That becomes important. All
right, I just want to skew the conversation a bit, because festivals are not only about music. They're not only about the artist. We were talking about the collaboration between Reeperbahn going to South by Southwest last year, and I think this year as well. So I know that there's not only musicians here, there's people who are trading in the music industry. How important is it for them as well to consider booking for festivals?
I think it's very important to see that professional festivals want to work with professional structures, at least with the industry. So we hardly directly speak ever directly to the artist. It's very, very rarely happening. We always speak to the industry, and the industry is managements, labels, agents, promoters. But another part of the industry and of the structure are the governmental institutions. Sphe, you mentioned IMEXA from South Africa, who are enabling and who taking several artists per year to different opportunities to showcase. And this is the other side of the medal, or the other 50%, literally, of the artists playing, for example, at our festival. 200 are booked officially by the bookers, and they have to sell tickets. The other 50% are included and promoted by partners, labels, maybe sometimes publishers, and lots of international music export organizations. We are working with Chile to Norway, from Korea to Canada. They bring their artists to the event. They propose these artists to us. We check it out. if it's if it is a fit, or maybe sometimes we say, oh no, maybe could you propose another artist because we don't think that this is the right fit. So what the message is, a music industry, if it's in Kenya or in Portugal or wherever, if you realize, or if you are able to create a structure together with the government that enables artists to be built up, and then as soon as they're export ready, to bring them to a few places where the international music industry is gathering, then this is a good strategy. And so I think this is what I would like to stress is regarding Kenya especially. I think what is urgently needed is also a public structure, institutions who support local artists, great local artists, and enable them to develop and their talent and finally go abroad.
So I think one key message that's coming across is that you cannot do this thing by yourself. You can't just sit there as an artist by yourself thinking you've got all the answers. You know how to use the internet, you've got Wi-Fi, so you'll apply for a festival, hit send and sit back and and think that's what's going to happen. You need all these support structures. You need a booking agent. And this is not just for festivals. This also goes the same for concerts. You need someone to book you. You need someone to negotiate for you. You can't be the one saying, but how am I going to get there with my flight? Already as someone who does events, I already know that you know nothing. So it's very easy to just quote zero, So you really need someone there at the forefront doing this for you. As we wind up, I want us to talk about, with the growth of the internet. Yeah, and the accessibility, because before, I wouldn't have known about Reeperbahn if it wasn't for the internet. It took 2 seconds, just hit the internet, and you've got all this information about Reeperbahn, about KZN music, Imbizo music, about Koroga. I keep mixing it. So good. And I wouldn't have known about the booking agent. I'll start with Francois. I mean, I know you're a booking agent, but how do I settle on a booking agent? How do I choose a booking agent? Yeah, just not you, maybe just another
usually
one.
The booking agent chooses you. Maybe since more booking agents choose artists than artists choose a booking agent. To be honest, there are more artists than booking agents available. Okay, so usually it's more booking agents that choose artists. But all the challenge is how can I convince? In fact, you choose. This is exactly the same process to convince a booking agent than to convince a festival promoter or concert venue director. This is exactly the same criteria, exactly the same material, exactly the same process. Use the same thing. Because if you convince me, means, okay, because you convince me because I think I will convince festival promoters.
Would you say that people who, like you said, 50% of the people who come to your festival are supported by partners?
Of the artists.
Of the artists, yeah. 50% of the artists who perform at the Reeperbahn Festival are supported by government, institutions, and that not. Would you advise someone? So, for example, if I've applied and you've accepted me, would the first step for me as an artist, do you pay for the flights and the accommodation and everything?
For the first half for the 50% that are booked officially by our bookers, we pay fees, we have deals with the managements, and sometimes it includes travel, hotel, everything. It's a proper deal, and each single artist gets paid by these acts who are part of the curated program chosen by our bookers, and the other 200 acts or so, which come by the partnerships with labels or export offices, etc. The partner has to cover the expenses of these artists.
Somoina, as we wind up, whether it's Koroga or it's the next concert, what would you advise a young artist who's sitting in here right now, who's literally had everything and going like, oh my God, I'm never going to make it. What would you tell them?
Perseverance, really. I mean, repeat the same things we've all said. Grow your craft. Go to live performances, smaller ones, because I go to local live performances to actually look for acts. So if you're starting there, you're somewhere already. So look at it that way. So because we go to those events, because there's really nowhere else. It's exactly, we don't have many booking agents locally. A lot of you don't have managers. So again, we're dealing directly with the artists on this level. Social media, I guess, I've gotten so many tags for songs. Again, I say live performances, because it's a festival, live performance works. Anything done in studio for me really is not important. Hence why I try to visit as many small, and there are many small local live shows happening everywhere. So we have a team. If I'm not going myself, we have a team that goes round, and we sort of take note of the upcoming acts. So again, it goes back to investing in yourself. Again, what you can take out from today, I think all of you need to go and work on a press kit, because there were very few hands up. So the next time we're seated here and you say how many have a press kit, you'll just come and drop them right here, or you'll be emailing them immediately. So have your press kit ready, because that will really showcase you. So really that's it. Invest in yourself.
All right. Remember, press kit is like a presentation. You can't go and start pitching a business without a proposal. You understand? So you really, really, don't sleep tonight without that press kit. Talking about South Africa, there's something very, which is the only thing I've really understood about, and which really got me excited, is the fact that the companies the government is actually assisting. There's actually a structure assisting artists, because I know a lot of Kenyan artists complain that, guys don't help us, Kenyans don't love our music, the government, but when it comes down to it, is there an actual, how can we get there? Because I know there's people who are watching right now, who are seated here in this audience, who can do something about it. What would you advise us as Kenya? How important has it been in South Africa? And, we're a young country in terms of music. How important can this be for us as well?
Okay, I'm going to talk from a perspective of our province, right? In South Africa, I believe you guys call them counties, right? So in South Africa, there's different provinces, about 9 of them. And the KZN Music Imbizo is hosted in KwaZulu-Natal, which is one of the provinces. So there's a national province, then there's a local municipality. So within South Africa, at a provincial level, there's a structure that we formed within KwaZulu-Natal, which is an association which looks after musicians, actually the whole value chain, right, of the industry. And that becomes very important, because as much as you want to create platforms where artists can perform, you also want to have artist managers, publishers, and booking agent, and everyone as part of the system. So that structure exists within the province, and it has its offices, and it's open to everyone, and it deals with venues, issues of licensing, and all those issues that are relevant to that industry. And from there, that lobbies government for policy. It lobbies national it forms, as part of the other provinces, it forms an export council at national level. So there's a structure filtering down right through to the, to the artists on the ground. So because when you look at conferences, the KZN Music Imbizo is beautiful, right? We do everything. We bring in radio stations, music compilers, and everyone. We bring in TV, your Channel O's, MTV, and all those guys. But that happens only once in a year, right? So the association takes up the job of workshopping, skilling people throughout the year, so that by the time the Imbizo comes around, people are ready. When Detlef comes through to Durban, he has someone that he can sit down with, right? Actually, what Francois is saying is, at this moment in time, a couple of us, the KZN Music Imbizo and some other associations, we are looking at about 3 to 5 artists, and we're trying to push them and grow them as brands, but they are independent artists, you know. So by the time that Imbizo comes, and we will be suggesting these people to everyone coming down to the KZN Music Imbizo. You know, they will be programmed, they'll be given an opportunity to showcase and do whatever, but they'll also get a chance to sit down one-on-one and talk to whoever that they want to talk to. So there's a level of collaboration and talking to each other with the idea of advancing the industry. So that's what we are all about. Right, but it's very important that you identify those talented people and you yourself get your product to a level that is very, very good and you can compete with the rest of the world.
We are lobbying that hopefully the next time we're seated here, government will be in support of that, the creative industry, and hopefully we'll have a section like that.
Some good news there. All right, we can take a few questions. You should have questions, right?
Recently, there was a festival here in Kenya. It was called the Africa Nouveau Festival. And it was a 3-day gig. And on Friday, it featured like up-and-coming artists, like the Tunjis, Shoe Kids, Chef Capellas. I don't know if anyone went for the gig. I was at the gig. If you want to check out the performance, I have a YouTube channel. Anyway, my question is, honestly speaking, is there like a chance for an up-and-coming artist to feature in such events? Because like I go for a lot of gigs. I've never been to Koroga, though I go for a lot of gigs. But the Jamisons and the barbecue, honestly, we have the same artists, especially Fena. I love Fena Gitu, but the past like 5 events I've gone, it's been Fena, Calligraph. Like realistically speaking, if you were to give a percentage on the, like if there's a chance for an up-and-coming artist to be featured in such an event.
Festivals need funding or need sponsors or need to sell tickets in order to keep the festival running. So realistically, you do need names that are known. You then have an opportunity. As I said, for us, we have a segment that is called really 15 Minutes of Fame. So really, we're giving you that platform. Again, you must submit. If you don't submit, then we really don't know you're out there. So you need to submit, and then we sort of pick you from there. Again, it's one slot. So you may have like 20 submissions or more, but again, it's one slot that you have for somebody. So yes, there's an opportunity, so submit. Koroga Festival at capitalfm.co.k. Send in your demos, and we'll see from there.
And can I just add something onto that? Because I feel like a lot of artists, and this is also an issue that I have with Industry Night, where artists will say, oh, we just see the same faces, why don't you give opportunity? But you realize that professionalism is the most important thing. You can want to work with all the artists on this platform or everywhere, you know? You just say, I have the stage. But I can attest on the amount of times you booked an artist, you've put them on the poster, you've pushed, you've gotten radio, you've marketed, and the person doesn't show up. How am I supposed to deal with that? And then, the artist will go out there and start saying how, what, just all sorts of things. And even just the handling what you were given, So I think we really, really need to start looking at the levels of professionalism. A lot of artists, I work with artists, I book artists for gigs. And so, like you're asking, for example, Fena. Fena is one person I book literally all the time. Why? Wouldn't you have Fena in your next event? Professionalism, yeah? And then number 2, it's not just professionalism. You might have a good song. You haven't taken the time to know when the next Koroga is. Structure yourself in a way that Somoina will see you, or whoever they're looking to feature, that your name pops up. You understand? So there's so many things for her to consider. She's thinking budgets, she's thinking sponsors, she's thinking all these things. But then at the same time, as they're choosing the artists, they're artists who are not going to give a headache. They're artists who've already worked to bring themselves to be seen, so that they're considered for the platform. So I think we really need to, and there's so many events, especially for upcoming talent. And even if it's not an event, go to the club and tell them, hi, my name is so-and-so. If the club won't give you for free, there's something wrong. Next question.
So what if I'm here in Kenya, and maybe I have done Kenya, and I want to move to South Africa to explore really? Can those government agencies help us from over here? And in what way can we reach out?
The trick is about government is that they use people's taxes. So the people that pay taxes are the South Africans. So anything that they do for South African people carrying, South African IDs. But what you are talking about is actually mobility, like movement of us as musicians around the continent. That is very important. And there are a number of organizations. If you just go onto the internet, Google African mobility, there's a number of agencies around the continent that support that. That if you were to apply and say, I want to make it to South Africa, there's KZN Music Imbizo, they will support about 3 or 4 people. And from my end, we can look at any other stuff that you need support on, right? I know off my head, there's Africania that works from, I think it's east-west, including Morocco as well. In South Africa, there's something that we call Concert SA, supported by Norway. They do the whole SADC region. There's quite a few. There's Music in Africa as well, the platform. You can look at them, identify where you would want to go within the continent and start talking to them about supporting you. I know that they have established a mobility fund. So it's about research. Look at what's happening within the continent. There's a few people that you can apply and get some funds so that you can tour. And the other most important thing is collaboration, right? At this level, if you are really, really good, you can start looking at South Africa and looking at some of the other artists that might not be where they want to be, but they are looking for partners. They are looking to do things. They are doing things independently, and you can say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. Can we talk? Can we collabo?" So that you start having a presence in South Africa through what they are doing. Like currently, I work with an artist in South Africa. They just collaborated with Winyo, and they will be dropping a song here in Kenya and in South Africa. All of a sudden, Winyo has access to South Africa, and we can set up radio for him and do quite a number of things when it comes down to South Africa. So it's just about research and networking and talking to people and finding ways, of how to move forward. You better have a plan, that's the thing.
I'm trying to put this delicately. How do you follow up without being a pest? In a way, so that
that's a good question.
Yeah, and I also want to know how someone who is submitting can be a value add to your festival. Apart from being professional, can it be how to promote the event? How can we add value as people submitting?
The first part of the question: how do we respond to submissions? You get a direct response on the website that says, "Thanks for your submission. We will get in touch with you if we would like to work with you." Don't expect any other answer if we are interested. Otherwise, we couldn't handle this big number of submissions we receive. Because we receive these submissions not only via our submission form on the website, but also by the professionals, by industry people who are sending their rosters. And this is enough work for our bookers to go through all this and to measure these submissions as well. So this is the technical side of it, and I don't have really had an idea how an artist could add, as you say, value to a festival besides performing and besides, in an ideal world, selling tickets for the organizer of the festival. Of course, we expect, if you are once booked, of course we expect that you use your communication channels, etc., to spread the word about your gig at a specific festival, of course, but this is in your own interest. So it's nothing that really would be very special or surprising. Yeah, so it's basically, it's when it comes to an engagement and a booking, then do your best and convince the audience.
So I think that what's coming out is you first need to get booked so that you can start adding value. You need to get booked first. You need to get in. Is it the same, Somoina? Or we can give you... Can I post on social media? You don't have to pay me. And then I perform. I have a good number of people following me.
What, the add-on of value or
Yes,
once you're booked?
Would that work for you? I don't know. Because he said...
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he said you have your platforms. A lot of artists have their platforms that, yes, you'll be great that... Actually, well, it's not great. It's expected that you will drive it on either your social media platforms, there's other channels that many artists sort of have. Again, as I say, it is a value add for yourself as well. Because if I weigh and see, I booked XY for my event and they couldn't really drive the numbers or drive the audience, chances of you getting booked again are slim. So it's in your best interest as well to drive it on your platforms as much as we are pushing it. Yeah.
I think
and then also key, endeavor to sort of attend the events that you hope to sort of perform in so that you get a feel whether it's a fit for you. Because some may not be a fit for your brand or whatever you're driving. So there are a number of local events. It's key to attend. It's a key to mingle with the industry players so they get to know you as well. So that it's sort of the back of your head. And collaboration, I think you mentioned, collaborations are so key. I think that's one of the steps we're going to sort of move to in the future where certain artists that we bring, we're going to have workshops that it's a nice place for you to come and mingle and see whether you could collaborate with some of these artists that we're bringing, or opportunity to talk music as opposed to people just wanting to take selfies or take photos with talk industry, talk level of where let's talk music and collaborate in terms of creating a bigger platform.
I think we can take 2 more questions. There's a question here.
Is there an addition for a DJ maybe to get booked for Industry Night, Koroga, or maybe abroad?
I think the criteria, I think when we're speaking artists, it was just a general term. This goes to instrumentalists, this goes to dancers, DJs, MC. If you're trying to get booked to Koroga, you have to attend Koroga first. And then second, for the DJs, I think it's just the same criteria. And especially for DJs, I find it that that the press kit is not a thing. And a DJ will tell you that they're really good. How do I know? I don't know. And then they'll send you a mix, you know? And that's not enough. That's like an artist sending me a pre-recorded song. It's not enough. I need to see you live because I don't know how you carry the mood. So I need to see how you handle that opportunity. Also, and then remember, everybody is a DJ. So you really need to stand out. Everybody's asking for that platform. So that press kit, I think it's just the same, everything that we've spoken about here in terms of press kit, in terms of persistence, in terms of getting your brand out there digitally, it's important. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add? Francois, is there anything you'd like to add?
Right, it's same for DJs, for musicians, for instrumentalists, the same. Nothing.
But
right.
maybe as well, if you're a DJ and you produce your own music that is unique, that's something else. You're an artist there. But a DJ tends to play other people's music, you know. And yeah, there's really nothing much special about that, you know. So if we were to take someone from another country and bring them in, they really, really need to be good, you know, and production and doing your own thing. People like Black Coffee, Kulo the Song, and all those guys, they make perfect sense in that manner. Heavy K, we just saw, you know, they produce their own music. They have their own unique sounds.
And I think that's the future. I mean, I just said it like everybody is a DJ. Everybody. Just turn to the guy on your right. That guy is a DJ. So you're all competing in a space where everybody's playing other people's music. And if you're talking festivals, so you're left with limited options. So I think that might be, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that could be your extra thing. Any more questions? There's a lady here.
Hi, I'm DJ Malkia. I was about to ask about the DJs, but that's been answered. Just to ask, like you asked, where do we get the booking agents? Yeah.
Here in Kenya, okay, first things first. I think you need to, when you're in your industry, for example, like doctors, I think I used this same example last year. If you check the video, I think I said this exact thing. When you're a doctor or a lawyer, yeah, you continue reading about new trends. You want to know if there was a breakthrough in eye surgery or brain surgery, I don't know, whatever, surgery, yeah? You have to know about these things. The things you learned in school are not enough. Things are evolving every single day. But in music, and I know here in Kenya it's a bit difficult because there are not too many resource centers where, you know, you can just go to one website and, you know, it will connect you to other websites, which is because we're a small industry and we're growing. And but there are people who are actually booking artists. I run an agency. I know there's someone in here who's also a booking agent. And basically, it's not even rocket science, but the booking agent is not going to come looking for you. Like, you need to be in the radar. Like, you need to be putting your music out there somewhere. You need to be, you know, showcasing when you're performing somewhere, like, you know, those links, everything is there. So I think that's the fastest way. And also networking, which is, I think, the one thing that Francois just keeps saying. Music is about networking. If you're in this industry, you can't be an island there. Yeah, you have to be mingling here. So when someone says something, you'll be like, oh, that's where you did that. You go to that website, or you go to that person. Networking. All right. Thank you so much, guys. That was our session. Of course, I'm going to just introduce them one last time before we leave. On my extreme left is Francois, who's a booking agent and runs a company called Macase. We have Detlef, who is from the Reeperbahn Festival. If you want to know more about that,
take a flyer.
Take a flyer. From Sphe from South Africa, who is the founder and organizer of the KZN Imbizo Music Imbizo Festival. And of course, the lovely Somoina, who runs Koroga Festival. And myself, Sheila Kwamboka, Industry Night founder. You can catch me on Homeboys Radio 4 to 7 p.m. and on Citizen TV. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming through, and good luck.